Big things. I can't wait for this one. That's cool.
Okay. Good evening. Hello. Would like to reconvene to public session. Is mine? Lori, can you hear? Yeah. Would like to reconvene to public session. Ooh, too close. Okay, at 7 p.m. And first would like to amend, oh wait a minute. Let's do it. Salute the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Amend the agenda to defer item 10E, first reading of the 2024-2025 school calendar to the next board meeting on April 17th, 2024. Do I have a first?
So moved.
Second. Mr. Nichols, second Mrs. Pugh. Roll call vote, Mr. Nichols?
Approved.
Mrs. Pugh? Approved. And I also approve. Recommend the approval of the minutes. Oh, as amended. Okay. Recommend approval of the minutes of the Board of Education regular meeting of February 21st.
So moved.
First,
Second.
Mrs. Pugh. Second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh?
Approved.
Mr. Nichols?
Approved.
And I also approve. Recognition of guest. Turn this over to Dr. Larimore.
Good evening, everybody. And at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mrs. Kevin Deputy and North Laurel Early Learning Academy's teachers for I Love to Read Month.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to share the JAM and reading accomplishments of our Nalela Bullpups. Our theme this year was Reading is My Jam, and it truly is. On the math assessment in the fall, 9% of our Bullpups were at their spring goal. When we retook the assessment, 77% of our kindergarten Bullpups increased their scores on the math assessment. Our Bullpups read 4,287 books during the month of February. Without further delay, let me introduce all of you to our top jammers. Those reading committee members who are here tonight, will you please come forward to assist with lining our Bullpups up for our picture? Thank you. Here we go. First, I would like to recognize from Ms. Gibbons' class, Travis Johnson Jr., who read 73 books. And in the PM class, Claire Jenkins with 140 books read. From Mrs. Piper's morning class, Piper Phillips read 50 books. From Miss Piper's afternoon class, Grace Betts read 129 books. Mrs. Lynch's AM class, Jacob Barr, who read 150 books. the entire school. Our afternoon reader from Miss Lynch was Avery Riley, read 29 books. This person's AM class, Carl Lynch, who read 73 books. And this person's PM's class, Kay Gray, read 22 books. Smiley. Grayson could be with us this evening. From Miss Lisa's class, it was Waverly Storm Blanchfield, who read 88 books, and I don't think I saw Storm. From Miss Ziesler's class, Malachi Evans, who read 27 books. From Miss Payanka's class, Maisie Gaynor, she read 100 and, oh, no, sorry, Maisie, I lied, 81 books. You still didn't From Miss Webster's class, Elizabeth Betts read 105 books. Come on, Lizzie. From Miss Picard's class, Leo Spence read 45 books. From Miss Cooper's class, Jasmine Gordy read 158 books. She was our top reader during the For Mrs. Nietzsche's class, Timothy Van Meter read 76 books. And for Miss Franchina's class, Hudson Serrano read 156 books and he was our second. And then our web reader from Miss Steele's class was Kaden Lynch, who read 73 books. Alright, and now I would like to introduce and thank, because they do an amazing job. We ended our event with jamming with Mrs. D. So that was their end of the reading event. But this committee is amazing, so I would like to take a moment to recognize them. Jenny Beck. Is unable to be with us. Carrie Green. Carson. Elizabeth Lynch. Valerie wasn't able to be with us. Jordan's not able to be with us. Mia, I don't think I saw Mia come in. Andrea wasn't able to be with us. Miss Payanka is here. But thank you. Okay, stay quiet. Stay quiet. Go back.
Right, you go ahead and get the floor.
Right, Chrissy, hold your Good job. Go back to Monkey Seven.
There goes our comment. There goes our See you guys.
Okay. Next, we have communication from the board. Is Mr. Nichols, you have anything you'd like to say?
No, just it's like the years flying by. We just started school, and it's just about over. I mean, I don't know where it went. Maybe when you get older, it does that, but.
It does.
But everybody else is nodding their head too, so even the young people. Okay, I'd like to see it get done with. I'd like to see what we're coming up against. I'd like to see our results. I think we're having some results, and I think that if we keep at it, we can. I think we're going to improve every year. So I'm happy with it.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Pugh?
I was just thinking when they talked about the max scores there at North Laurel, that's awesome. And I was at the PD with Dr. Larimore, was that Monday?
Yes.
And we saw a lot of improvement, a lot of movement, a lot of growth. And having done that for many years, I just want to congratulate everybody. That's great. That's great. It'll be even better in the spring.
Thank you.
Super. Okay, I just want to share that I attended the Winter Sports Banquet, and that was great to honor our athletes, with the winter sports. And the other thing I want to share is to thank Dr. Larimore. I guess it was his brainstorm to come up with Between Two Bulldogs. I don't know if you're following, what's posted weekly, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy what's going to be coming up. Because today we got to spend the biggest part of the day interviewing our bull pups, which is what, pre-K, kindergarten?
I was just kindergarten today, but they were enough. I asked one little darling, I said, do you have a joke for us you'd like to tell? She said, yes. And then she sat silent for 10 seconds. I said, well, what is it? She said, big bees, big bees. That was the joke.
They think.
That's a good one.
Made me laugh.
So you never know what is going to come out of their mouths.
Oh.
So that's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to that. We have so many, we read about and we hear about like the negative with our students, and we have I'm glad you're doing this.
Thank
Really?
you very much. I couldn't do it without, Chad Alvarez, who's here this evening, who films us. He comes down every,
he does that?
every 2 to 3 weeks.
I
Yeah,
thought
he
you
does
did.
that. No, Chad doesn't. No. And Ashley actually came up with a name, Between Two Bulldogs. They're sitting here and, hey, I need a catchy name for this. So Between Two
Well,
Bulldogs.
it's really, It's really good, and I am thrilled that we are bragging on our students.
And Mrs. Whaley helps me out with transportation for all of our younger students. That's why we started at the high school, because they were easier to get over. You know, they had like their license and stuff, but we also have been very blessed to have a transportation director work with us on that.
Well, I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I'm glad that, you know, we'll be continuing. Oh, she's got that. Oh, we have one here.
What name's your audience?
It was Leo Spence. Yeah, I apologize. He's at the T-ball practice.
Leo Spence? Leo Spence?
Yeah.
Hey, Leo Spence!
How many books did you read?
Yeah, if we're gonna clap it up, we need to know how many books you read. How many? 45 books. Good job, buddy. Thanks for coming.
Super. Okay, that's all I have for that. Now, public participation. We have one person that is going to speak tonight, and I will read the regulations on public participation. It's Mr. Chad Alvarez, if you would like to come up and listen to me read this. Okay, each person wishing to address the board will be afforded the floor once during each public discussion period. At the beginning of your presentation, please identify yourself and the purpose of your presentation. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers shall not bequeath any or remaining time to another speaker. Persons wishing to speak for a longer period must arrange for a place on the board's agenda. Persons wishing to be placed on the agenda shall inform the superintendent of that desire in writing, and the topic no later than 3 full working days prior to the day of the regular meeting of the board, which is normally the 3rd Wednesday of the month. Members of the public are expected to conduct themselves responsibly and with due respect in an effort to maintain a high standard of conduct. The board president will have authority to terminate the remarks of any individual who does not adhere to the above rules. Persons appearing before the board are reminded that although requests may be directed to the board, action and answers to questions must be deferred pending board consideration. Go ahead.
All right.
And as soon as you speak, Mrs. Pugh, it will start you on the timer.
Okay. My name is Chad Alvarez. I'm a 1991 Laurel High School graduate, and I'm here tonight because I'm the acting treasurer of the Teach World Foundation. I'm very excited to announce the first annual Spring Fling fundraiser. It's going to be held Saturday, May 11th, from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Laurel Fire Hall. And what's really cool is Mike Hines and the Look is going to be there that night, rocking the house, which means that we're going to see Dr. Lammer tearing up on Terrence catches some rep.
I'll try not to break a hip.
But anyway, the whole purpose of this is, the Teach World Foundation, we're trying to raise awareness, and we know that there's a teacher shortage, but we are going to do something about it. So, pricing for the event is going to be on the teachworld.org website. So you can buy single tickets, you can buy tables, but that's all going to be on the website. So what you're going to come into is a cash bar, silent auction, 50-50 raffle, heavy appetizers, light if you're on a diet, I don't know. Chicken, shrimp, meatballs. But really, all these proceeds are going to go for the recruitment and retention of the Laurel School District staff in high needs positions. So we all know that's a big need. So when you think about it this way, what better thing can you do than to go to Laurel Fire Hall, see my kinds of look, hang out with some friends, have some drinks. I mean, there's going to be nothing better. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to bring some old Laurel alumni with me. So we'll see who we bring. But on a serious note, I just wanted to let you guys know, in case you didn't know, for the past 2 years, I have been behind the scenes with social media for the Laurel School District. And, truly, Laurel is way better than the negative headlines that we get. I've seen it firsthand, and I've said it, Sean, I'm blown away. I remember when I was 12 years old, like, man, some of these kids are talking about buying and selling and doing,
Real estate.
Real estate. Like today, my mind was blown. This kid was like, yeah, I'm going to do some Airbnbs, and I'm going to look at the analytics. And I'm like, where are these kids coming from? Like, when I was in Laurel, I was playing Nintendo in my bedroom. But, so Dr. Lammer and I, we sat down, and we're like, how can we change this narrative? And you stole my thunder a little bit, but we came up with Between the Two Worlds. And while we came up with the concept, it was actually Ziska that came up with the name. So if you really look at the set, it's very obvious we got 2 bulldogs, and we got 2 bulldogs, and there's 2 bulldogs, and there's 2 bulldogs everywhere. But the intent here is to showcase the outstanding students that we have. I live on Canal now, I drive an hour and a half to come here, and to be amongst these kids and to see what they're doing, I'm jealous. I wish I had applied myself like some of these kids, truly phenomenal. So I know we can do better, and we're gonna tell these stories as best we can. How many of you guys have seen
That's it.
the episodes this morning? Okay, well, we're gonna continue to do that, guys, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Guys, on May 11th, 6 to 10 o'clock.
Okay, financial report?
And just in case anyone was wondering about where Mrs. Yoder or Mrs. Giles or Mr. Brady are this evening, they are at a recruitment fair in Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yep, Pittsburgh, yep. Large, big Western.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Be real quick tonight. Just a quick update from last month. We didn't have a whole lot going on. We did receive our draft audit report for our construction funds for the audit for FY21 and FY22, and we had no findings.
Yay! That's super.
And then we got our engagement letter for our next audit for FY23 funds. Yay! So upcoming, we have that, and we also have a few reports due here, which is related to federal funds. Our estimated unit count is due on April 9th. That will get us ready for next year. Our ESSER annual report is due on April 30th, and also our Filter First funding report is due on May 1st. And then our next financial position report will be due on May 1st. There's a snapshot of our reserve and local funds, still keeping track with last year's. Anybody have any questions for finance?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sorcy.
Okay, unfinished business. This is the second reading of policy EFQ, school meal payments and charges as submitted and found on the district website in the Board of Education policy section and as found at the law school district sites. This policy was available for review by the community at the law school district buildings and on the district website. First, Mrs. Pugh.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh.
Approved.
Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
And I also approve. School choice, none submitted. Fundraisers, recommend approval of fundraisers as a group.
So moved.
First, Mrs. Pugh.
Second.
Second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh.
Approved.
Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
I also approve. Recommend approval of fundraisers as submitted.
So moved.
Mrs.
Second.
Pugh, second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh.
Approved.
Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
And I also approve. Rentals, none were submitted. Professional trips, recommend approval of professional trips as a group.
So moved.
Mrs. Pugh.
Second.
Second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh.
Approved.
Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
I also approve. Recommend approval of professional trips as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
First, Mrs. Pugh. Second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh.
Approved.
Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
I also approve. There are no items for presentation, review of policies. Okay. Possible action on executive session items. Attachment A, professional, recommend to approve the personnel report with recommendations as discussed in executive session as listed in attachment A.
So moved.
First, Mr. Nichols, second, Mrs. Pugh. Roll call vote, Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
Mrs. Pugh? I also approve. Personnel attachment B, support. Recommend to approve the personnel report with recommendations as discussed in executive session as listed in attachment B.
So moved.
First, Mr. Nichols. Second, Mrs. Pugh. Roll call vote, Mr. Nichols.
Approved.
Mrs. Pugh?
Approved.
I also approve. Attachment C, coaches. Recommend to approve the personnel report with recommendations as discussed in executive session as listed in attachment C.
So moved.
First, Mrs. Pugh.
Second.
Second, Mr. Nichols. Roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh. Mr. Nichols.
Approve.
I also approve. Okay, the next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 17th at 7 p.m. at the Laurel Middle High School cafeteria, and Dr. Mayor Morris.
Yep, I just wanted to close with a thank you to Daryl and Mike Brown, Daryl Downs and Mike Brown, for your leadership with the weapons detection training that you guys done for us. I really appreciate that. I shared it with the board during executive session. And also Daryl, for you and your team, Gil, I believe, and Barry, also on your construction of the goat shed. So shared that as well. So thank you very much for this.
Yes, and I did have a question when Sean shared about the weapons. Did you try it to see if it caught anything?
Yes, yes. They actually provide a block that has a barrel inside of it.
Okay.
And we went through it multiple times with that. Daryl was trying things like some of his tools to see if it would set it off. And we tried our Chromebooks. We went through a lot of like the common things that we have. But then we also had this, it's like a TSA approved testing device.
Okay.
That is about the size of a concealed carry.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and it found it every single time.
Beautiful. That's what I wanted to know. If it was tried. And the goat shed looks beautiful. Goat barn, whatever you call it. Looks like a shed to me.
Daryl, you better stay away from that goat shed. They put old goats in there. They might get you.
What's that fancy project I'm done with?
Okay, don't let them lock you up in there.
I'm thrilled though that we're getting it, because then our students will be able to take the goats up to Harrington Fair Show, all of that. I'm thrilled, with it. My grandchild did that years ago. And,
I think our goal is to have those when we return from spring break. So we
Okay.
can have that fenced in, hopefully, completed.
so you've already got goats lined up.
I think, Ms. Simmons does have those lined up.
You should be able to sell the lawnmowers. Just turn the goats loose. Yeah.
Tell Jerry that, will you?
They do that in Turkey. I just thought that we can do that.
Okay, and yes, don't forget next Friday also, dedicating the baseball field in honor of Jared Mears. So come out and attend that. I believe it's at noon.
Just coming Friday
The
or?
game starts at noon.
Oh, 11. Okay. All right, so do I have a motion we adjourn?
So moved.
First, Mrs. Pugh, second, Mr. Nichols, roll call vote, Mrs. Pugh.
Approve.
Mr. Nichols?
Approved.
And I also approve, so we are adjourning at 7.